Christine Doan again from Startup and Innovation Tablelands. And I'm here with Scott Fittler, who's representing this whole Destiny complex where our new Tablelands Business Hub is located. And I just wanted to talk to Scott about my latest thing, which is, I've always got a latest thing, and my latest thing is transformative tech. Now, this is the beginning of a movement where technology is used increasingly for well-being, for not only for physical health, but for mental health and spiritual health. This is something that hasn't been built out, and now it's going to be built out. This is really going to be a big thing in the future, and I'm sort of curious to hear how you would see this fitting in with your complex of businesses, and where we're going to go with it with Startup and Innovation Tablelands, because this seems to me to be one of the more innovative aspects of the whole startup movement, the whole technology movement right now. So what is transformative tech? Well, it's tech that, if you think about it, the lowest level, is that a Fitbit you're wearing?
It's an Apple Watch.
It's an Apple Watch, so it does all those things.
Yes.
So instead of thinking that you've done, I'm sure I've done 8,000 steps today. You look at it and say, 3,500. Well, my subjective impression wasn't quite accurate. I think I didn't sleep at all last night. And your Oura Ring says, you slept like a baby. Come on. Don't worry about your sleep. You had 8 hours of it like you were a 2-year-old.
And that shifts the mind.
And that shifts the mind. Well, it allows you to stop being anxious about the thing, and
yes.
In the 8,000 to 3,500 steps, get walking. The lesson is, and be honest with yourself. But, these technologies are going to become something in the future where you're going to have to make the decision of, will I have a chip implanted that makes my 8-year-old smarter?
Yes.
Will I have a chip implanted? I might have a pacemaker. I don't have one, but I might have a pacemaker that keeps my heart going.
Yep.
But what about these optional items that are going to make us smarter or more compassionate?
Yeah.
Or more understanding or more creative or whatever it is? This is going to be a big thing. We need to learn to deal with all forms of tech, including transformative tech, now, because if we don't do it now, first of all, we'll miss the bus.
Yep.
And second of all, this great opportunity for the Tablelands to be a step ahead in the world stage is going to be missed out on. Well, you see this from a possibly different point of view than I do. What's your perspective on this?
I think, I think the ethical issues.
Huge!
Massive ethical issues.
Massive!
But
and we haven't even talked about it. Did you hear this in the last election?
No.
No.
I mean,
Was this a topic?
Look,
no.
Do you know what's interesting?
Why isn't it a topic? This is so important.
Do you know what's interesting for us? I come obviously as a pastor coming from a church background. There's been discussions around microchipping and that for the last 30 years.
Absolutely.
And I think in other smaller sort of silo kind of thinking. I think now with the technology the way that it is, the opportunities that are coming up before us, those things are now really, we need to be having the discussion.
They're right in
They're
front
right
of us.
here. And like
They're
you said,
not out there, they're right here.
we already have wearable tech.
And there are people who have installable tech already.
There's whole towns in I think Switzerland who are chipped, and they have all of their information. They don't have key locks and this sort of thing. They have access to their buildings and that through the chips that they have implanted. So that tech, it's already happening. It's already here. We have to learn how to deal with it. And so I think rather than let the other, I think if we say put the ethical issues to the side for a second, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be talking about that, and that's going to be done to death over the next few years. But it's going to be largely a knee-jerk reaction. Because,
that's the problem.
And so we need to be talking, rather than talking on an ethical, we need to be talking about the opportunities, and we need to be talking about the threats. And I think when we talk about ethics, we largely only talk about the threats. And we really need to be talking about what are the opportunities, how is this going to improve humanity, how is this going to improve our relationships, how is this going to improve our connectivity with one another, And how can we make sure that it doesn't land in our laps the way that smartphones did, the way that Facebook did, the way that every social media has now? We didn't anticipate the disconnectedness
That was
those
going to
things-
come from all that connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we need to.
The polarity.
Yes.
I mean, you can't
yeah.
have connection without disconnection. It all fits together.
And how can we make sure
Yeah.
that we're anticipating? And I think the best way to anticipate is to look at the opportunities and to go, okay, what opportunities are there, and then what threats does that give rise to, and what are we actually looking to achieve? Because ultimately, I think if we just go, we're looking to get more connected and we're looking to improve humanity, if we're in agreement on that, then we're going to have a clearer conversation, because we're going to be rallied around a singular vision of improvement. And so we're going to be not talking about what's right and wrong. We're going to be talking, well, does this fit with improving and actually accelerating human progress?
And is it a real improvement?
Exactly.
Or is it not an improvement?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's the conversation that needs to happen. And so rather than the right and the wrong of it, and I think we get bogged down in the ethics of it, and like you said, we get left behind because we're too busy trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong, rather than going, do we agree on what improvement looks like? And you touched on earlier, saying, spiritual and emotional and physical.
Mhm.
Are we looking at it holistically?
Yeah.
And saying, okay, yes, there's a physical advantage, but it's affecting me spiritually, or it's affecting me emotionally. And so I think that's the conversation that needs to happen, first and foremost. What is improvement? What is not, because that will give us clearly what is not improvement, and that's the conversation that needs to happen.
So let's see if we can find a couple people in Startup and Innovation Tablelands and a couple people from Destiny who are interested in this subject.
Yeah.
And we're all going to get together, a small group, right here at the Tableland Business Hub
Sounds
at the
good.
Destiny Complex.
Yes, yeah,
And we're going to start to work on this.
sounds fantastic.
Up for it?
Absolutely.
Done.